Every Harley-Davidson sold in the United States is assembled here, inside these American manufacturing plants. Some motorcycle parts are imported here from all over the world, including China. But engine and drive lines are built in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and frames are assembled in York, Pennsylvania. Right now, you're watching the first part of the manufacturing process, the pressing of the fenders, fuel tank, and other body parts at Harley-Davidson's main factory in York. This iconic brand blends modern manufacturing tech, CNC and robotics, with old-school hand assembly. All Harleys sold in the United States were made in Milwaukee or York plant. Approximately 70% of the parts on each Harley were made in the USA. But last year, for the first time in a long time, more Harleys were sold than in previous years. This was due to increased demand in India, Europe, and Latin America. So last year, approximately 170,000 of these bikes were sold. 100,000 of them in the United States. By comparison, Honda motorcycles sell over 17 million units each year. In this comparison, you can see just how prestigious owning a hog is. The frame is now being welded. The main frame of the future bike is welded using programmed robotic arms. Some parts, including the welding of irregularities, are welded by a worker in the welding department. Now the welded parts are moved to the paint shop. Here, all the parts are hung on a slider and slowly run through the paint shop. The painting process itself is largely automated. The workers at this workstation are more involved in the supervision and maintenance of the assembly painting line. The factory workers here work mainly as quality controllers and also process the stickers and polish the individual parts. The painting process has several layers. After the application of the anti-corrosive solution, there's the so-called primer coating, and lastly, the drawing of patterns and sticker application. All finished parts such as fenders, fuel tanks, and other parts of the bike body are stored in a central warehouse. They are delivered to the main assembly line at the exact moment of assembly. Harley uses just-in-time manufacturing techniques to stay flexible. You are now following a process called powder coating. It is a dry finishing process where finely ground particles of pigment and resin are electrostatically charged and sprayed onto a metal surface. The coated part is then baked in an oven where the powder melts, flows, and forms a tough, uniform skin. This production line is also almost automated. Workers here simply program the robotic machines and then sit in front of screens to oversee the powder coating process. Despite the high degree of automation in some phases of production, Harley-Davidson employs thousands of workers. This famous motorcycle manufacturer currently employs around 5,800 employees. Most of them work directly on the main assembly line. Made in America is essential to the Harley brand, even as it adapts globally. The brand focuses on craftsmanship, customization, and heritage-based engineering. In Harley-Davidson Production, powder coating is used, especially on engine parts and frames. There are several reasons. Powder-coated parts are durable, corrosion and heat-resistant, visually smooth, and high quality. You're now watching the yellow and orange robotic arms that handle the cylinder heads. The cylinder head sits on top of the engine's cylinder and contains intake and exhaust valves, spark plug holes, and combustion chamber. In Harley's V-twin engines, like the Milwaukee 8, each cylinder has its own head, and the heads are designed for air cooling and efficient heat dissipation, which is why they have those signature cooling fins. You are now watching the automatic assembly of the crankcases. These robots are expensive to acquire, but then they work 24/7 and do not need any salary. and this is what the cylinder assembly looks like. This assembly is done by an experienced worker and involves putting several different parts together. Workers within this Harley-Davidson factory are trained for one specific activity within the manufacturing process. They perform this activity over and over again and are therefore flawless in doing so. Hundreds of finished Harley engines are stored in this central warehouse. Each one has a number and is predetermined to which specification of bike it will be fitted. This Menomonee Falls factory manufactures engines and transmissions, especially the Milwaukee 8 engine. Machining, casting, and precision assembly of engine components is also carried out here. There are around 600 workers inside this Menomonee Falls plant. The giant American flag on the ceiling of the factory floor and other symbols around show how Harley-Davidson is focused on patriotism and love for its country of origin. And now you are watching the start of the main assembly line. This is where the frame is first assembled, followed by the engine assembly, and then more and more parts are gradually assembled. The whole production process is like a giant jigsaw puzzle. This is where most of the workers are employed. This part is already underway at the York factory in Pennsylvania. This is what the engine assembly looks like in the Harley-Davidson Sportster S. In 2021, this successful bike was completely redesigned. The Sportster S was soon followed by the Nightster and Nightster Special, both powered by the new and smaller Revolution Max 975T engine with 2-in-1 exhaust at a lower price point. But now you're looking at fitting a Revolution Max 1250T stress member engine to a Sportster S. A stressed member engine is an engine used as an active structural element of the chassis to transmit forces and torques, rather than being passively contained by the chassis with anti-vibration mounts. In this main factory in York, Pennsylvania, the final assembly of most heavyweight models like Touring, Trike, and CVO takes place. Frame fabrication, painting, chrome plating, and quality testing are also carried out here. And now you can finally see the engine mounted in the frame of a future Harley-Davidson bike. Now follows a lot of bolting and fitting the bike together, adding handlebars and hundreds of other parts. The assembly sequence is optimized to be as fast as possible and to avoid errors. Each workstation is staffed by several workers. Each team has a supervisor who is responsible for the work done by the whole workstation. Now comes the installation of the fuel tank and fenders, including other protective covers for the bike. Harley-Davidson Global Registrations rebound. In 2024, global registrations finally showed a new trend with 171,000 units thanks to the anticipated big growth in India and a positive recovery both in Europe and Latin America. So last year, this manufacturer sold 2% more bikes than the year before. Right now, the bikes move into the illuminated LED tunnels, where the paint quality control takes place. Here, the workers will check all components according to a predetermined checklist. Bikes are often moved around the factory floor by AGV. These yellow automatically guided vehicles are used for easy transport between workstations. One of the things that makes Harley-Davidson so unique is the unparalleled legacy they've created over many generations of making motorcycles. The company was founded in 1903 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by friends William S. Harley and Arthur Davidson. You are now watching the engine performance testing on the dynamometer. A dynamometer, or dyno, is a device for simultaneously measuring the torque and rotational speed of an engine, motor, or other rotating prime mover, so that its instantaneous power may be calculated and usually displayed by the dynamometer itself as kilowatts. After testing and polishing, the bikes are ready to be transported to their future owners or to dealerships. Transportation usually takes place in huge boxes and then by truck across the United States. These assembly line workers at Harley-Davidson factories average between $20 and $30 per hour. Of course, it very much depends on the specific job and also on the seniority of how long they have worked for the company. Please let me know in the comments section what model Harley-Davidson you own. The Tomahawk factory in Wisconsin produces composite parts, fairings, saddlebags, windshields, and much more. The specialty here is injection molding and painting of non-metallic body parts. So, all Harley-Davidson motorcycles are manufactured partially in Wisconsin, engines and drivetrains, with final assembly and remaining main components like chassis manufactured in Pennsylvania. Subassemblies and assembled components come from around the world. Harley-Davidson is one of the most recognizable American brands in the world. Owning a Harley feels like riding a piece of American history. America has its two major stylish motorcycle manufacturers that survived the Great Depression and are rivals to each other: Harley-Davidson and Indian Motorcycle, the Indian motorcycle factory you are watching right now. So, the production of these Indian motorcycle takes place in this main factory in Spirit Lake, Iowa. The production of a new model always starts with the design in the design studio. This is followed by clay modeling to test the life-size appearance and aerodynamics. This plant serves as the main assembly site for all Indian motorcycle models, where skilled workers hand-assemble each bike with meticulous attention to detail. In addition to the Spirit Lake facility, Indian Motorcycle has several other key locations, such as the Wyoming Product Development Center. Also Vermillion, South Dakota, where the parts and accessories warehouse is located. So every Indian bike was assembled at the Spirit Lake factory. The factory employs approximately 550 skilled professionals who take great pride in each detail of the assembly process. Over 30,000 Indian motorcycles were sold last year. This famous American brand is owned and manufactured by Polaris. It was founded in 1901. Indian's manufacturing facility was moved to Spirit Lake, Iowa in 2011. In March 2013, Indian unveiled their new Thunderstroke engine and began to sell their newly designed motorcycles based on it in August 2013. Now you are watching the painting and final coating of the Indian's fuel tank. With fewer Indian motorcycles produced each year, there is less robotization and more activities are done manually. Indian Motorcycle puts a lot of emphasis on leather accessories and therefore has a relatively large leather processing department. This leather is handcrafted and there is a focus on quality. Indian Motorcycle has moved away from tan leather in recent years, along with classic fairings and saddlebags. It's cheaper to offer only one style of saddlebags and fairing, and also only one saddle color. But now you're watching the engines being fitted to these famous bikes. The manufacturing process and procedures are very similar to the Harley-Davidson brand. Indian introduced the Super Chief in 2022. The Super Chief carries the same Thunderstroke 111 motor as the Chief Bobber, but includes floorboard, windscreen, and saddlebags standard. The Super Chief Limited also has an all-chrome Thunderstroke 116 engine, cruiser handlebars, and the Bluetooth-capable Ride Command digital gauge system. The Indian Challenger with the Dark Horse flavor is powered by the Power Plus liquid-cooled 60-degree V-twin engine that produces 122 horsepower and 128 foot-pounds of torque. Approximately 64% of Indian Motorcycles business is concentrated in the US, a market that remained relatively flat in 2024. While Indian Motorcycle faced a challenging year in 2024, the company remains committed to innovation and market adaptation to navigate the evolving industry landscape. You are now watching the final assembly of the exclusive Indian Chieftain Elite Black Hills Silver motorcycle. This engine is a Thunderstroke 111 with a split dual exhaust. Indian Motorcycle and Harley-Davidson is one of the most legendary rivalries in motorcycling history. Though they share some similarities, American V-twin cruisers, iconic brands, deep heritage, they differ in style, feel, tech, and brand personality. As you can see, the manufacturing processes and procedures of both companies are very similar, and the emphasis on quality is also almost identical. Let me know in the comments section if you prefer Harley-Davidson or Indian Motorcycle.